Hi Flosstube, my name is Laura and welcome to my channel Loves Rubber Stamps and Needlecrafts. Today is January 2nd, 2024 and I'm here to film my annual WIP parade to show you the projects that I'm taking into this year. Right now I have 36 cross-stitch WIPs. And we're just going to go through them. They're not going to be in any particular order. I will try to insert pictures of where I was the beginning of last year if by chance I worked on the project sometime during the year. I know there are probably several projects that I didn't even get a touch this year. And I'm hoping that with the rotation that I would like to try this year or really give a go to will help me get some more finishes and touch a lot more of my WIPs. So we will just go ahead and get started. Really quickly, life update. I had knee surgery on December 1st. That has been slow recovery. I was off work until I actually went back to work Christmas Day. It was my first day back at work. My knee's just been really, it's feeling a lot better now, but it took quite a while to not be quite so sore. When they got in there, my meniscus was almost torn completely in half, so it was a little bit more torn than they realized. So I've just been trying to take it easy. When I sit too long, it gets kind of stiff. So for the first couple weeks after surgery, I really didn't stitch or do anything because I couldn't really sit at the table. I didn't really have a good setup on the recliner where I was basically sitting with my knee up. So I haven't really worked on a whole lot of projects since my last video. I did work on one, which I'll show you at the end because it's a big one and I got it finished. So, but we'll share that at the end. And then right after surgery, probably about middle of December, my husband went to St. Louis to the dome race at where they race cars inside the dome, and he brought home influenza. So our family was sick with influenza A. I ended up having to go to the hospital because of it. I spiked a temperature of 104, which was miserable. So after, I think it was about 2 weeks after my surgery is when I got sick with the influenza. And so we had to postpone our Christmas, all of that because we were all sick over Christmas. And so we just celebrated our Christmas with the family this last weekend. So I think that's pretty much it for life updates. Just trying to hang in there. So anyway, let's go ahead and start with the WIP parade since I have several projects. Like I said, I have 36 current WIPs and they're not in any particular order. I'm just going to grab and go. And like I said, I'll try to insert pictures if there's been progress over the last year. So first up is going to be, oh, let's see, where did I put my stuff? Well, we'll start on this side with this pile. I have piles all around me. So the first project is Mirabilia Raven Queen. And I know I did not work on her this year, which is sad. I love her. And she is being stitched on a, oh, what count is this? I have my book that has my cross stitch journal that has several of my bigger projects in it, so I can try to give you the details on the fabrics if I can't remember off the top of my head. So she is being stitched on a 32 count Carpe Noctem linen from Sunny Dyes fabric, and here is where I'm at. So I basically just have the little tower, and I wanted to start with that because I wanted it to be centered on the moon on this fabric. I started this for Stitch Mania in 2019. And as you can see, not a lot of progress has been made since I started it. That's going to be one of my goals this year, I think, because I want to get some of these older WIPs and things worked on and start getting some of my old ones knocked out, because there's so many that I want to start. I will be putting stuff back in my project bags, but I think I have most everything out and unzipped, at least to start. So. Okay, where should I put you? All right, next up is Always Remember from Plum Street Samplers. And this was one that I started this year. I've always loved this one because my grandpa Barber, when he was alive, he always would buy us those paper poppies for veterans whenever he would go to the store. So I'm just kind of stitching this in memory of my grandpa and his paper poppies that he would always get us. Now I still have to buy them when I see them. So this is being stitched on a Under the Sea fabrics called, it's a 32 count Incoming Storm. And this is where I'm at. So I got one poppy in there and just kind of started on the house. This is a really fun stitch. I really enjoy working on this one when I get to work on it. And like I said, I had just started this this year. So I can't wait to get back to that one. Back in there later. Okay. All right, next up is one that I know I haven't worked on this year, I don't believe. It's from Samplers and Stories called Herbal Grimoire. And this was an Etsy store. And this one is being stitched on 40 count mummy wraps from Ship's Manor, I believe. That's where I'm at. I love that one. That one's fun to stitch too. Well, of course, I'm going to say that about all of my WIPs because if I didn't love them, I wouldn't have started them, right? So, I'm stitching the words. I'm going to stitch the words with a Dinky Dyes silk called Vintage Newsprint. It was in one of my... It was a Stitchy Box exclusive that I got one time. So hopefully I have enough to do the words for that. Next up is one that I know I haven't worked on either. And this is in the Cross Stitch Collection magazine. This is issue 158. And the project I'm doing is this one called Bird Watching. I think that's really pretty. And this is being stitched on a 28 count Vanilla Cream Lugana from Color and Cotton. And this is where I'm at. The colors are so pretty. And I wanted my fabric to be very similar to the called for because it kind of helps with the background. It's part of the design, really. Next up is a kit that my mom got for me. It is the Vervaco kit Jesus. And I'm just stitching this on the kit fabric and kit floss. It's a 14 count. I believe it's ivory Ada or cream Ada. I don't believe I've worked on it this year so far. I know I started it in 2020 with the pandemic because I thought it'd be a good piece when you're having a really crap day, and with the pandemic starting and not knowing how that was going to go. It was scary times, so I thought it was appropriate to start Jesus during the pandemic. And that's where I'm at. This really doesn't have a lot of colors, but the way they do the shading and stuff, it looks really nice. So that's where I'm at on Jesus. Up there. Okay. And then I have a full coverage piece. This is the one that I've been working on the most this year. This is the one I'm doing for my mom. It's called Dog Double Shelf by Randall Spangler. Let's see if I can find my picture. This is what it will look like when it's finished. And this is the one I'm currently working on it. Here is where I'm at currently. So I have, there's 3 pages down that are finished, and I have 1 page over here that's done, and I'm almost done with this next page here. I think it goes, the end of the page is pretty much right at the base of his paw, and like kind of right there. So I don't have a lot to go to finish that page, but I'm trying to get this one to 10% finished before I switch WIPs. I'll kind of talk a little bit about my planned rotation at the end of the WIP parade, and how I plan on working on my full coverages as well as some of my other stuff. So we'll do that at the end. But this one's really fun to work on. It is straight there, but my fabric is pulled a little tight, so I think it looks really good so far. And this one is being stitched on 28 count white Lugana 1/1 full crosses. So that one, I think I'm right currently. I didn't bring my pattern keeper down, so I can't tell you for sure, but I think I'm like at 9.87% complete, and I want to get to 10% before I switch projects. My next one right now is, I don't have a cover sheet for this, so I'll have to insert a picture of what it will look like when it's finished, but this one is currently my medium size WIP focus, and that will make more sense when I go through my rotation at the end. But this is what it will look like when it's finished. It's called Temperature Tree by Stitchin' Mommy. And I have worked on this year, so I'll insert a picture of where it was at the beginning. And here's where I'm at currently. So I have January, February, March, April, and May. All those are finished. Now I got to do the branch for June and then the leaves, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just doing the branch first, then all the leaves for that month, and then working my way around. I have all of the high temperatures wrote down, and this one is the high temperatures are from the year, I'm stitching it for the year that it was our 25th wedding anniversary, which was this will be this year will be our 27th, so 2 years ago. So 2022 was our 25th wedding anniversary. So that's, I'm stitching at the high temperatures for 2022. So as you can see, I'm a little behind. But what I did on the leaf for February 14th, which is the day we got married, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, probably not, but it's this leaf right at the end, and I added some glisten gloss so it's sparkly to make it a little bit of a special leaf. But so that one, oh, and that is being stitched on a 40 count River Rock from Color and Cotton. In the tree trunk, I am stitching it in a Color and Cotton floss called Black Walnut. It's really pretty, which is appropriate because black walnuts are trees, which we actually have one, not in our yard, but right behind our house is the city park, and they have a black walnut tree over there. Makes it very hard to walk. Okay, next up is a WIP that was a new start this year, and I'm actually almost finished with it. It is the Blue Flower Silver Needle Squirrels. I think her squirrels are so cute. All of her little animals are so cute. This one is being stitched on, I believe it's a 36 count Sand Castle. 36 count Sand Castle from Color and Cotton. It's one of the fabrics of the month. And here is where I'm at. I've done a little bit more since I showed it last time. I just worked on it a little bit last night. I finished this squirrel's tail, and then I just started on his body. He's going to be kind of a light beige colored squirrel. He's hard to see. But that's all I have left for the pillow, is just to finish this little squirrel and then add the little back stitching floss in the needles. And I'm kind of using some of my own colors. There's a few of the called for, but most of them are subbed for what I had in my stash. But I did try to keep it true to the design and pick colors that were similar. This fabric always gets so washed out by the light. I do plan on, after I get this pillow finished, I do want to stitch just the squirrel by itself. Probably 2 of those, because I have 2 sets of squirrel scissors. And I want to do just the little squirrel with his little needle and make scissor fobs to go on my squirrel scissors. So after the pillow's done, I plan on stitching 2 little squirrels just by themselves. So that one is an almost finish. Probably a good afternoon of stitching would finish that one out. The next project is, I have worked on it just a smidge this year. It's in this magazine called The World of Cross Stitch. World of Cross Stitching. It's the UK one. I'm actually doing 2 projects in this magazine. This is issue 118. And the first one I'm doing is the little bear, called A Cozy Winter's Glow. And I'll insert a picture of where I was at the beginning of the year. .16 count white Aida. And this is where I'm at currently. So I just basically worked more on his coat and his hat, filling in some of the reds. So he's a fun stitch. It'll be cute when he's done. I think when he's finished, I'll either do him as a flat fold or maybe a pillow to put out at Christmas time. And then the other project I'm stitching in this magazine is the Joan Elliott 12 Days of Christmas, which is in here. And I know I haven't worked on this one at all this year. This one is on scroll rods. This is being stitched on a 28 count Lugana that's an opalescent, white Lugana opalescent. And that's where I'm at. And basically I need to frog the gold stitches that I've done, because I was trying to use something from my stash and it's a nightmare to work with. It likes to split, and then it gets really almost like bungee cord like when it starts splitting. It's a real pain in the butt, and that gold goes all the way around the frames. So I'm going to rip that out and sub it in Petite Treasure Braid, because that's a lot easier to work with, especially with having that amount of metallics in this. But that's where I'm at currently. All right, my next project is my current focus that's for my small category, and that is my Little House Needleworks Milady's Strawberries. And I know I've worked on this one obviously this year, so I'll insert a picture of where it was at last time. And here's where I'm at currently. This is being stitched on a 36 count Ren by Picture This Plus. And I've got the border come down on both sides. I just have to do the bottom, finish that top. I'm using a mix of called for floss and some subbed in Color and Cotton. I tried to stay true to the picture. A couple of the colors wouldn't show up on my fabric, so I had to find some that would work. And but I wanted it to look pretty true to the picture because I really like that. Okay, other side pile. This one is Live on Little and by Plum Street Samplers. And I got mine when it was an exclusive kit for the Farm Girl Gatherings Retreat. This has now been released, so you'll be able to get it. And this one is being stitched on the called for fabric, which is a 36 count hog bristle from Fox and Rabbit. And that's where I'm at. Just a little bit of the border. That one's really fun to stitch too, that I need to get back to. Next up is my Paula Vaughan's A Quilt for All Seasons, and I'm doing, it's in this book. And the one I'm stitching is the November quilt. My page fell out, but that's what it will look like. And I haven't worked on this year. And it's being stitched on 32 count cream Belfast, which is the called for, and that's where I'm at. So I just have some of the quilt done. The quilt is a lot of work. There's all of these frames, and even in the blocks are tons of fractional stitches like that. the whole frame work is all fractionals. So I think once I get the quilt finished, it will go relatively quickly because it's a lot of the background is half crosses, so, but very pretty. Next up is I have 2 projects in this book that I'm working on. Cross Stitch Safari by Jayne Netley Mayhew. She's one of my favorite wildlife artists. Her stuff is so realistic and amazing. I could stitch pretty much everything she charts. The first one I'm working on, and I know I haven't worked on either one of these this year, which makes me sad, but that's how it goes. This one is called Elephants. And this one is on my scroll rods. And this is being stitched on a 28 count. I think this chart is actually called Giants of the Plains, but I call it Elephants. Yeah, it's a 28 count Stony Creek fabric called Summer Clouds. And what I love about her, her designs are so realistic, and there's really no back stitching or anything. It's just all DMC and shading. She just has great use of color. Okay, and then the second project that I'm working in this book is called Queen of Cats, and it's a leopard. And I'm not very far on this one. I've only worked on it like maybe 1 rotation since I started it. And right now I'm stuck in the massive confetti of the grass. So it's constant color changes. So it's very slow going at the moment. And this one is being stitched on a 16 count Aida by Fabric Flare called African Sunrise. That's where I'm at. Oops. You can see all the confetti stitching, that grass. So I think the way I have it figured out with this fabric is that the leopard's face will be kind of right up here. I think it'll look really pretty. It's really not a huge design, but full of confetti. Is one I know I haven't worked on. This is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, Into the Jungle. And I only have 2 little animals done. Sorry about that, technical difficulty. All right, I know I haven't worked on this one, and I have 2 critters done. I have the cute little sloth and the little African, or the little tree frog. I don't know if it's an African tree frog, but it's some kind of tree frog. Go. Super adorable. This is being stitched on, I know it's a Crafty Kitten fabric. That was a fabric of the month. It's July 2016 fabric of the month from Crafty Kitten. And I don't think she does fabrics anymore. I was in her fabric of the month club for several years, and her fabrics were always gorgeous colors. She really could do some great things with fabric. So it's sad that she doesn't do fabric anymore. I really enjoyed her pieces. Some really pretty colors. Next is one that I know I haven't worked on either. It's not a super high priority WIP for me. It is one of my older ones though, so I want to get it done. But this is the Durene Jones Fantasy Stitch Along that Lakeside Needlecrafts put out, and this is being stitched on a 32 count opalescent fairy dance from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And here is where I'm at. So I have all the frames completed. I'll have to put a picture in of what it will look like finished. This one's kind of hard to show, but I have 3 of the characters complete, and then the frames to do the rest. So my plan is when I work on this to stitch the border on the page, and then once I do the border I can do the little character. The border is very dense stitching, and if I don't do it that way, I know myself, and I will not do the border and it will languish forever. Next up is a full coverage piece called Dreamer Max Colors by Nadia Strelkina. And I'm doing, like I said, this is the max color version. And I likely have not worked on this one. I don't think this year. I haven't really got to a lot of my full coverages this year, which makes me bummed out. But here's where I'm at currently. I love working on this one. It is a lot of confetti, but it's going to be gorgeous when it's finished. Just, check out that tree and the detail. I love how the fog kind of comes through the trees. You can see like the tree branch or the tree trunk here, how the fog goes over. It's really pretty. This is being stitched on 28 count white Lugana, 1/1 full crosses. So that is that one. And then another full coverage piece is this is my oldest WIP. It's by Heaven and Earth, Beck Winnel, and it's called New Girl 3. And this is the one that when I came back to cross stitching in 2015, this was the first one I started. And where are you? I don't think I've worked on this one this year. Like I said, I mainly worked on my dogs this year. Here's where I'm at with this one. So I do have 6 full pages complete on this. Just kind of working in her hair, and I know like right about here is where her eye is, and I'll start coming into some of her face. So that'll be exciting. To get to her eye. All right, and then my next full coverage piece is my biggest. This is King Coda Storyteller by Amy Stewart. I forgot to say my New Girl 3, also 28 count white Lugana, 1/1 full cross. That's really my preferred way of stitching my full coverage. This one here is a supersize max color version that I'm doing. And I don't think I really got to work on him either this year. I don't believe. This is where I'm at currently. I am slogging through mostly black pages. I have 6 full pages completed across, and now I'm working on the next row, and the majority of these pages here are going to be almost solid black stitching. So goes a little faster, but it's pretty boring. But once I get to the boring, I think that's the most boring part of the chart. And then pretty much after that, it's, you got neat stuff on each page after that. So love my King Coda. All right, and then my next full coverage, I know I haven't worked on this one. It's Heaven's Little Angel. Oh, and I forgot. King Coda is 28 count white Lugana 1/1 full crosses 2. This one is Heaven's Little Angel by Katerina Koukiotis. I'm sure I didn't say that correctly. By Heaven and Earth Designs. I haven't worked on this one. And I only have one page finished on this. And this one is being stitched on a 25 count white Lugana 1/1 full cross. I think it's 1/1. No, this one is 2/1. So it's kind of bulky, but because there's not a lot of color changes, I'm putting up with it. I do need to, if you can see it here. I did get some column lines because Heaven and Earth did a couple of challenges one time where you had to stitch certain ways, and when I did that, it gave me some column lines. So I'm gonna have to go on the back of my project and try to run some string under it to try to lessen those because they annoy me. But this one also has a lot of Krynic. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but there's a lot of Krynic mixed in with the white. You can see some of the sparkle there. So that kind of makes it a little more challenging to stitch too. I'd started this as a 28 count, or on 25 count 1/1, 2/1, I'm sorry, 25 count white Lugana 2/1, because that's what Heaven and Earth had recommended as the way to stitch Heaven and Earth designs. And like I said, it's a little thick for me, but because there's not a lot of confetti or color, there's big blocks of color kind of in this one, I'm gonna put up with it. Like if I had to do it like on my Dreamer piece, it would be a nightmare, and your fingers would probably bleed because it would be so hard to get your needle through with all the color changes because it gets so thick. But coverage is great. I just have to fix those column lines because they really annoy me. And then my next full coverage piece, I don't have a printout, so I'll have to insert a picture of what it will look like here. And this one is from Charting Creations. Charting Creations. And it's by Sheena Pike, and it's Daydream Tigers, and it's the large version. And here's where I'm at. So just working up there in the corner, and this one is being stitched on 28 count Easy Guide Lugana 1/1 full crosses. And like I said, this is the large version, so it's going to be a big one. Okay, and then I don't have a color copy of this one printed out, but I'll insert a picture of what it will look like finished. This is a stocking that I'm doing for my daughter. It's called Shih Tzu for Christmas, and it's artwork by Donna Gelsinger by Heaven and Earth Design. And I don't believe I've stitched on this one either. And here's where I'm at. This is on a 20 count white Lugana, or no, 20 count white Ada, and it's 2/1 full crosses. Just up in that corner. I'd like to do our whole family stockings. The other stocking I have started is for my son, and I'll have to insert a picture here because I don't have one printed out. But it's called Kitten Christmas 2, and it's also artwork by Donna Gelsinger. I have an Inert Designs, and it's also being stitched on a 20 count white Lugana, sorry, 20 count white Ada, 2/1 full cross, and that's where I'm at on his. And then my next project, I don't have a cover photo, so I'll have to insert a picture. It is by Teresa Wentzler, and it's called The Fortunate Traveler. A 28 count cream Cashel linen, which is the called for fabric. And I haven't worked on this one this year. This is where I'm at. I'm just working in the border. I think I have pretty much maybe just one more green to go in some of these, and then I'll get to start working my way down. I have a smidge, you can kind of see it there, of when I started in the middle, I did a smidge of the bush and then moved over and wanted to start from the top. So that's where that one is at. And actually, this one is moving into my large category focus WIP. So this one is going to start getting worked on as my focus piece in my large category until it's finished, because this is one of my oldest WIPs. I started this one in 2016 for my very first Stitch Mania that I participated in. It was my very first start in my very first Stitch Mania. So that one will be coming upstairs to get consistent progress until it's finished, hopefully. All right, next up is my Spring ABCs by Little House Needleworks. This one's kind of hard to see. And this one is being stitched on a 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed using Vaughan the Twisted Stitcher and Priscilla and Chelsea's techniques for coffee tea dye. Here's where I'm at. You can see I'm almost done with it. And this I'm using mostly all the called for colors. There's a few that I switched. I added a little bit of the, I think it's Ladybug for the hearts and these flowers. And then in the trees, I'm using hickory sticks instead of the called for. So that's where I'm at on that one. I do have winter stitched already and finished. So I want to get spring done, hopefully before spring. And then I still have to stitch the summer and the autumn ones. Okay, and then next, this is one I haven't worked on. This is Fresh Eggs Farm by Hands on Design and Priscilla Blain. And this one is being stitched on a 32 count Belfast linen that I dyed myself to look like a chalkboard fabric. And that's where I'm at. Just some of the chicken and the fence. I would like to stitch that whole series. There's several series that Priscilla did with hands-on design that I'd like to stitch the sets of. Next up is my Trick or Treat by Lena Lawson Needle Arts. This is a Pascal Mogarou design. This thing is full of color changes, backstitch, confetti, tons of colors. You'd be surprised. Like, look at the color list just for that little guy. Isn't that crazy? Blends. Yeah. And he's not very big. He's only 82 by 135. So, lots of detail. And I haven't worked on him this year. Here is where I'm at. Just have some pants. And this fabric is a 28 count limited edition from September of 2016 from Crafty Kitten. One of my fabrics of the month when she was dyeing fabric. So, Seasons in Chalk Art Winter by Priscilla, Blain, and Hands-On Design. This series was in the Just Cross Stitch magazines. This is from February of 2016 issue. And this one, I'm stitching it with the called for flosses on the called for fabric, which is a 32 count slate by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And that's where I'm at. And I want to stitch this whole series too. This is the first one I've started though. Next is my Stony Creek. It's called Back Again Someday, and it's in this issue of their magazine, Winter of 2014. And this is what it will look like when it's finished. I just think he's so cute. And I have worked on him, I believe, this year, so I'll insert a picture of where it was at last year. And I've only worked on him, I think, once to basically get his cute little face done. So that's where I'm at currently. This is also being stitched on a 28 count Summer Clouds from Stony Creek. I think he's so cute. This one always makes me a little sad though, because he's so adorable. And you know that he's melting in the snow, in the sun. And you hope that he comes back someday, but he says he will. But all right, almost done. My next one is one that I started this year, and it is by Palm Street Samplers, The Gather In. And this one is being stitched on, I'll have to put it in the description below because I don't even see my slip of paper, unless it's still attached. I doubt it. This is where I'm at. And I know I'm stitching it, I know it's a 36 count. I was thinking it was also Hog Bristle from Fox and Rabbit, but I'll have to insert what my fabric is here, and I'm stitching it 1/1 with the called for floss. I went back and forth to do 1/1 or 2/1. This was a tricky fabric because the 2/1 looked a little too bulky for me. The 1/1 looks a little bit sparse, but I think it works for this design. So I decided to do the 1/1 full crosses with the called for fabrics or flosses. My next project is one that I also started this year, and it's called Sweet Tooth, and it's by Raise the Roof Designs. And this is a fabric that, it's a 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself to look like a chalkboard. That's where I'm at. And I'm using, I think, a mix of the called for and, or did I pick my own colors? I think I picked my own colors to look very similar to the charted design, just using floss from my stash from like color, because I'm in the Color and Cotton Floss Club, so I get a lot of their colors, and I just wanted to use some things from my stash. So I tried to pick things that were pretty close to the called for. I think I have just one more WIP. No, two more WIPs. This one is Believe Snowman. This is by Stony Creek, and it's in their August of 2007 issue. I haven't worked on this year, and I've just got a start on the border. It's on a 28 count Opal Lugana white, but just working on the outside border before I start on the fun stuff. And then my very last WIP, I cannot find my, I was switching from my plastic holders to project bags, and I think I put the stuff for this one in a project bag, and then I didn't put my project bag back with my WIPs. So it's somewhere in my disaster of a room here, and I will come across it. So in the meantime, I don't have the cover picture, so I'll have to insert one. It's called Eat My Dust by Candamar Designs. It's a full coverage kit. And I'm just stitching this on the called for kit Ada, which is, it looks like a 16 count like ivory Ada. And I started in the middle and did some of the lion's nose and worked my way up to the top, and then worked my way over to the corner so I could work from that side down. That's where I'm at. Is Harvest Keeper by Plum Street Samplers. This one I have worked on this year because I took it to retreat, but I haven't worked on it since retreat. So this one is being stitched on a 40 count Newcastle linen by Color and Cotton. And I'll insert a picture of where I was at the beginning of the year. And here's where I'm at now. So just working on that border. I'm trying to get the main border over, so that way when I do the leaves and the acorns, I can do all the leaves of the one color while I have that on my needle. Same with the acorns, and then try to get that border finished up. This fabric always washes out. It's a lot warmer than it looks like in this light. It's almost done, Rue. Okay, and then my very last WIP is my Dark Queen of the Sea, and that one I'll have to insert a picture of what she looks like finished. And here is where I'm at on mine. I don't think I've worked on her this year. And really the only thing that you can't see is her hand over here. That's where I'm at currently. And this one is being stitched on 32 count opal into the Mystic by Color Cascade Fabrics. Color Cascade. I don't think they dye fabric anymore. I think they went out of business. But I loved this one. Yeah, Color Cascade Fabrics. They were a company in Australia, but sadly, I don't think they're dyeing fabric anymore. But I love her face. I did her hair to look like seaweed. My sister Lindsay just finished the Dark Queen of the Earth. It looks amazing. So I want to get back to this one too and get some more work on her. So now, and that is it for my WIPs that I'm going into 2024 with. And if you noticed, there was one of my really big WIPs, if you've watched my channel before, that you didn't see. And that's because I just literally finished it yesterday on January 1st. So I thought I would show you that because it's always been a favorite. It is my Redbirds and it is done. So that is Redbirds. This one I stitched in honor of my grandma and grandpa. I love doing cardinals in their memory. This is on a 28 count lamb's wool Jobelin. I still need to wash it, and I want to get it framed by Jill Rensel. Since it's a special piece, but that is Redbirds. I'll try to scooch in so you can see. Yeah, she is done. I love it. Give you close-ups of the birds. The amazing thing is there's no back stitch in these designs, so it's all just details with it's all just DMC. And there's Grandma Cardinal, and then Grandpa. I love him. So pretty. So to finish it, I just had a little bit left in this flower, and I did all the leaves and the little cherries to finish her out. Like I said, I just finished it yesterday, so woohoo! All done. So I'll be getting that framed by Jill Rensel. Hopefully I'll get it sent off maybe sometime this month. Yeah, so that's mainly what I've worked on since my last video. I really haven't worked on anything else other than Redbirds because I was getting close to a finish and I just wanted to finish it. I just pretty much worked on it till it was done. So that had been my large focus piece, and because that one got finished, now I'm going to swap in the Fortunate Traveler by Teresa Wentzler, since that is my, besides my full coverage pieces, that's my oldest large size piece. So I thought that as I finish my focus WIPs, I would swap in the older pieces to try to get them finished. So really quickly, now that we've covered my WIPs, I'm going to tell you what I plan to do for my stitching this year. I may participate in a few challenges. The challenges are fun, but they kind of throw me off. So I'm not sure how many I'll participate in because my goal this year is I really want to focus on my rotation and see how this works for me. So I really want to give it a good go And if I'm trying to do challenges and stuff, I can't follow my rotation. So I thought I would just tell you a little bit about my rotation on how I plan on doing my stitching. So at work, I am allowed to stitch as long as we're not busy, or you can read a book, you can bring things to do. So my plan is, because I'm working day shifts now, to bring something very easy to stitch on. So at work, I want to stitch ornaments. And I want to have a Halloween tree, and I'd also like to stitch my family like Christmas ornaments. I want to stitch a Christmas ornament in memory of my grandma and grandpa every year, and do some ornaments as gifts. So I want to alternate between, like, do a Christmas ornament, then a Halloween ornament, and go back and forth. And I would strictly stitch ornaments at work because they're small, easy to take with you. So that's going to be my plan for at work stitching, because working days you get interrupted a lot. Some days I won't get a stitch hardly at all. Other days maybe I'll get more time, but I thought ornaments would be something easy to not get as lost when you get interrupted a lot. So that's how I plan on tackling my ornaments. So the days I work, I'll work on ornaments at work. At night, on the days that I work, I'm going to work on my full coverage pieces. So the way I'm going to rotate through my full coverage is my King Coda, since it's my biggest, it's a super size max color. When I do that one, I'm going to stitch a 0.5%. And I'm only going to do a 0.5% because I use Pattern Keeper, because that's such a huge chart. That's still, it works out to be like, what was it? About 3,000 or 4,000 stitches. So it's about a 0.5 page per rotation. Because if I did one full percent, it was like going to be almost 9,000 stitches, because it's almost like a 900,000 stitch piece. It's huge. So when I'm going to do King Coda at a 0.5%, and then I'm going to go to my dog double shelf, and that one is a gift for my mom. So I would want to make significant progress on that and keep it going. So every time I do that one, I'm going to do 1%. And then I'm going to work on my full coverages from oldest to newest as I rotate through them. And for each of those that I pick up, I'll do 1% of the pattern. So I'm going to do King Coda, 0.5%, dog double shelf, a full percent, and then rotate through my other heaven and or all the other full coverage and do 1%, starting with my oldest and going to my newest. Then I thought that once I make it through all of my full coverage, the next time, and then I'll just keep going back. So I'll do King Coda, dogs, rotating focus whip, King Coda, dogs, the next one. And then once I get through all of my full coverage and stitch 1% on all of them, then my next time through, I can do a new start as a full coverage piece, because there's ones I want to start still. And then I would stitch that one to 1% before I would rotate through again. So I'm hoping that way I get consistent progress on my King Coda and my dogs. Plus that allows me to work on my other ones that get neglected when I get in a rhythm on some of my other pieces. So that's how I'm going to work my full coverage. And then the way I'm going to work my other pieces is my work schedule rotates. So I have 3 days off after a work week, and then I have 2 days off the next time, and then 3 days off, and then 2 days off. So every time I have days off, it's either 3 days or 2 days. So my first set of 3 days off, I'm going to have a new start for the month. And then on my days off, I'm going to work on that new start for those 3 days. And then it will just go into the regular WIP pile until it's turn to be a focus piece. unless I get it done if it's something smaller. So my new starts, I'm not going to do full coverage in that because I want to save my full coverage starts for a reward for getting through the ones I already have started. But it will be anything that I feel like doing. It could be a large piece. It just won't maybe be a full coverage. But if I feel like doing a full coverage, I'm going to do it. It's just going to be, my new start is going to be whatever I'm feeling at the time that I want to start the most in that moment. And then my first set of 2 days off, I'm going to have my small focus whip. And currently my small focus whip is what I consider the small is Milady's strawberries. So every time I have my first 2 days off, I'm going to work on that piece until it's finished. And then I will look in my whip list, and the very first one that comes up, that's my oldest in the small category, will get rotated in there. Once I get all my smalls finished for my old whips, then I will get a new start that's in the small category once those are done. Then my next 3 days off, my second set of 3 days off, I'm going to focus on my large focus piece, which, because my Redbirds is done now, is going to be the Fortunate Traveler. So I will keep working on that one until I get it finished. And then once it's done, I'll look at my whip list. And then my next oldest one that's a large size piece, I will put in its place until it's finished. And then my next 2 days off will be my medium focus piece. And right now, currently, that one is, I'm considering the temperature tree my medium piece. So I will keep working on that one until it's finished. And then the same thing, once it's done, I will look through my whip list, and the oldest one I have that's in the medium category, I will sub in and work on it till it's finished. And then my plan is, once I get all, as I work through my whips, obviously with my new starts, I'm going to be adding some to my whip list, but I also hope that these focus pieces will help me kind of keep my whip count down. But I also want to get these older pieces finished. So I'm hoping that by focusing on the oldest ones, excuse me, by focusing on the oldest ones first, I'm gonna get the hiccups. I'll be knocking out these older ones, plus also getting to have new starts. So that's the plan for my rotation. And like I said, if I feel like working in a challenge here or there, I just might. But I really would like to give this rotation a really good chance, see how it works, and really kind of stick to it to see, because I think it will work good for me if I stick to it. My problem is when I start doing challenges, or I kind of go off my rotation like I did with my Redbirds, just because I wanted to get it done, which, you know, then everything else gets neglected and I get kind of thrown off. But I did get a good finish, so that's the trade-off. But I think that is it. So today is my day off. It's my last day off. I actually worked overtime yesterday, and Sunday we ended up having our Christmas with our kids, because, like I said, we had to postpone Christmas due to sickness. So I didn't get to do my new start. This is my 3 days off. And so I haven't got to do my new start yet. So I'm hoping that as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to figure out what it is I want to start. I'm thinking, because I'm running out of time, I may just start my Scary Sampler, which is the one I wanted to start at Retreat that I didn't get to start, because I really like that piece, and it's all ready to go. I know exactly where it's at. Everything's ready. I just have to make a copy of the chart for my highlighter, and then I can get going. So I think, because I'm running out of time, that might be the one I start today, because I'll only get to work on it today if I get busy in this rotation. The other thing that I need to do today, as soon as I'm done with this video, is get my ornaments ready, because I'd finished my Halloween ornament, Muriel. And then since then, I haven't been able to really come down to my craft room and get my next ornaments ready to take to work. So because I do work tomorrow, I would like to get those ornaments. I'd like to have like probably at least like a Christmas and a Halloween ready to go. So that way if I end up finishing one, I still have a backup in my work bag. And just have, you know, like 2 or 3 or 4 kitted up all the time in my work bag. So, as I finish them, I can start the next one right away. So I need to get my ornaments, the first ornaments I'm going to do, prepped and ready and to go with me to work tomorrow. So that is all I have. I hope that you found some projects that you're maybe inspired to start yourself, or maybe there's some that you're working on already. If you are, just let me know, and we can, you know, I'd like to see your progress on the same ones. I think that's it. So I plan on doing hopefully monthly videos. So I'm hoping that my first update will be towards the end of January, after I should be able to hopefully get through some of this rotation, at least my days off rotations. I don't know how far I'll get in my full coverage. It just depends on when I get those percentages hit, on how often I'll switch those out. Right now I'm going to finish working on the dogs until I get to that 10%, which I'm only, like I said, I think I'm at 9.87 or 9.86% complete. And then I will switch to my new girl 3, do a percent on her, and then I'll do King Coda, the 0.5%. So not sure how quickly I'll get through that before my next video, but I should at least be able to get through all the days off, so I'll have progress on those. So I think that's it. This year I would like to do some Stitch With Me videos. I think that would be fun. I say that every single time, and every single time I haven't got one filmed. That's still a goal of mine, is to do some Stitch With Me's. I would like to do some special videos, maybe stash dives or things I have kitted, or go through my kits that I have. Maybe as throughout the year, I'll do a couple special videos or something, or maybe just show a little bit of, you know, like 5 things from my stash every video or something, depending on how long the video is. But now I'm just trying to ramble, so I'm going to go ahead and go. And I really appreciate all my subscribers. And if you're new here, welcome. I appreciate you stopping by and spending time with me. I hope that you find something to be inspired by, and that you will subscribe and like this video. And until then, happy stitching, stay safe and healthy, and I hope that you have a wonderful new year.